biggest topic of the day. It is Lions Rams and Sean. Man, what a huge game! It almost feels like the hype for it has been down a little bit just because of the crazy news week that has happened in Detroit sports. But man, what a huge game this is! Lions Rams today at 4:25. Just what are your initial thoughts? Heading into this game.
I actually talked to Dan Miller about this the other day, and it reminds me so much of some of the conversations we were having 10 days ago about the Dallas Cowboys, except it isn't the Dallas Cowboys and it isn't Dak Prescott. But could I order the exact same menu that we had last Thursday? Get that pass rush going. You know what? You want to make amends for maybe what you don't have in your defensive backfield. Get after the quarterback. I mean, that's a fantastic secondary in and of itself when you can get after the quarterback. And we need this offense to be on point. This isn't quite last year where I'll never forget looking at this graph where it showed all the league's injuries like about here, and then the Lions were up there. We don't have that magnitude, but where they are, can you overcome these injuries to the defensive backfield? I've got my doubts. I mean, this is a complete makeshift defensive backfield. And let's face it, one of the key pieces, we don't know if he's going to come back this year. There's a something serious going on with his knee right now. So the only way you can overcompensate that is for this defensive line to be dominant. And, I say this all the time and people get angry. I love Aiden Hutchinson. I'm happy he's a Lion. But is there a next level there? Because if there's a next level there, it would be great if it happened right now. That Myles Garrett level, that Micah Parsons level. And I get it. He's double teamed and he's chipped and life's miserable. But if there's that next level, by golly, it'd be great if we saw it today. Because what Matthew Stafford's doing, it reminds me of the year that Aaron Rodgers had. It was the COVID year where, it's almost like the game slows down. You've been in the game so long. And your body's still able to do the things that you need to be able to do. Rodgers was tremendous that year. I think his TD to interception ratio was like 48-5. It was like one of those things where you sat at home going, I hate this guy. I hate him so much, but my gosh, is he awesome. And Stafford's kind of having that type of year right now.
Sean, I have a bad feeling about today. I just do. I mean, I know that there's still a path regardless of what happens today, but like you can attest to this better than anybody because you've covered, the league so long. At some point, like these are still human beings, man. Like they keep battling back and like, hey, we have the grit and Dan Campbell and he motivates them and they, hey, we're going to bounce back. We're going to keep getting up. But at some point, you're going to hit that. You're going to hit that low, man, right? And I almost feel like the Bills have been kind of like that a little bit this year. Like, not that they're down and completely out of it, right? But the Patriots now zoom by them just like that, right? Because the Bills have been through so much, it seems like, without breaking through. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's something where they can still, regardless of what happens today, like find a way and grind out these last 4 weeks and get into the playoffs because we all know anything can happen. And when you have the best player on the field, and I'm back to this, I'm up here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is now the best player in football. I just do. I just have a bad feeling about, today. And like you said, the matchup especially.
This has been, was it Denny Green that said you are what your record indicates? And I think the Lions are there. And let's face it, guys, it's been over 2 months now. We've been a win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one team. And it is remarkable that they haven't lost back-to-back games in over 3 years. That in the National Football League, that's incredible. But the flip side has been loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. And I think this is what they are right now. I said the same thing, and guys busted on me something fierce, because you know how things are in this town. You're not allowed to be objective. You just have to say, yay, Lions by 21 and everything. I don't like this one at all, especially out there. It's the same dynamic that's working for them that works for us. How many times have you heard the Lions say before a game, oh, we're not really remembering last year. Oh, last year was last year. And they took it to the Cowboys last year down in Dallas. They remembered the year before and everything. And I think there's a little bit of that going on with Matthew Stafford. He is an uber competitor, and I think he knows the Lions got the better of him the last couple of times they played, especially that big playoff win and everything. And he's going to be ready to go today.
That's something I wanted to bring up, Sean, with the Matthew Stafford narrative. Like, I know for me, I did a football show earlier this week, and I just thought, like, I'm done with all that narrative and all that stuff, and Stafford against the Lions and all that. Just win. Like, the importance of the game is so much more important than whether they beat Stafford or not. I wonder what you think, and just your feeling with talking to fans around the state. Like, what is the feeling with Stafford at this point now?
It's really weird. It's the strangest bit to me. I never got into the Detroit Rams thing. I don't get it. No offense to you if you were. I like Matthew. Okay, now he's a quarterback on another team though. Nothing personal. He's a quarterback on another team, and the constant reliving of the deal is really strange to me because I don't want to do over. They probably don't want to do over, okay? At the end of the day, they won a Super Bowl, so they have the bragging rights right now. But if I could snap my finger right now and say, nah, you know what? Let's just pretend that never happened. I don't want to snap my finger right now. Look at what the Lions got out of that and pieces that are going to help them, hopefully, remain uber competitive for the foreseeable future. So, I think it's starting to go down. You have the funny part of it, though, Kathy, or excuse me, Mrs. Stafford doing the whole "they booed my kids." Kelly Stafford, they booed my kids, which so people have fun with that kind of stuff, I think. But no, I think too many years have passed. I mean, Jared Goff is our quarterback. I think Jared Goff is beloved in this town, and like everybody else, I don't know how a living, breathing organism could say, well, I'd like a do-over. It was one of those deals, and they don't happen often in sports, where you can legitimately look at both sides and say, wow, that was a win-win deal. So it's kind of lost on me. I'm not rooting against the guy. Well, today I am. I'm rooting fierce against the guy. I don't have like bitterness towards a guy or anything. If anything, I think we should all say, hey, thanks for kind of forcing the trade. But I'm with you. I think that's just passed. Enough time has passed.
Yeah, the Kelly Stafford thing, I always found that funny. Oh, they're booing my kids. It's like she couldn't fathom the fact that, no, Kelly, they're booing you. They're not booing your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, with the whole, Detroit Rams thing and everything with rooting for Stafford, like for me, like when Verlander got traded, that was a whole different thing because Verlander won big time playoff games, put the Detroit Tigers on his back many a times, went out to Oakland, got 9 innings shutout and took them to the next round of the playoffs. Like so many huge games, took them to the World Series. I know they ultimately didn't win the whole thing, but man, so many playoff memories and playoff wins with Verlander. I rooted for him. I rooted for him winning the Astros. I felt good for him when he won the world title. To me, it was different. It was different with Stafford because he didn't have those. They didn't win a playoff game. And yeah, he played great. There was some great memories, but man, they ultimately really didn't win a whole lot and they didn't win playoff games. And that was the huge difference to me with Verlander and Stafford.
Yeah. One of my biggest chief complaints about Lions fans is I think we've made the mistake of comparing the Lions to the Lions way too often instead of comparing ourselves to the Green Bay Packers and having aspirations like the Packers do, to the Kansas City Chiefs, to the New England Patriots. And how many times would we say, well, Matthew Stafford was the best quarterback we ever saw in our life? Well, that may be true. And I'm not going to argue with that. He's a tremendous talent, but I want more. And you really saw a lot of that during the Coach Caldwell era. There was certainly a great amount of the fan base that wasn't happy that we got rid of him. And then when obviously Matt Patricia came in, it was like, oh, I miss Jim Caldwell. And it was like, no, I don't miss Jim Caldwell. I don't. Just because the next guy wasn't good enough doesn't suddenly make Jim Caldwell good enough. And I think we've all been guilty of that. And I've yearned for the day where a guy like Dan Campbell could come in here and raise the bar. And you know what the bar is right now? It's where it should be. Anything short of playoff success in January and February is a failure. And I love that. I want those expectations. I've been yearning for those expectations. How many times did we just say, well, golly gee, let's just get in? And no. It's time to aim higher. And I think as a fan base, we have collectively.
I think you already touched on it a little bit already, but so what do you think is the Lions' path to victory today?
You have to get after the quarterback. You know, and I'm not saying go have 20 sacks or something like that, but make Matthews' life miserable. I just don't think, I really don't think that you can overcompensate enough for what that defensive backfield is. That's just reality. So I think you're going to have to get after the quarterback. And like I said, it reminds me so much of that Dallas game last week. You know, okay, guys, we're going to have to keep scoring. And you know what? Maybe if we have the opportunity, maybe we kick that field goal on a 4th and 8 as opposed to going for it and everything. I think points are going to be at a premium. And if they hope to win this game, I would really like the repeat of what we saw against Dallas last week at Ford Field.
Well,
I don't expect it though. I got to be honest with you. I don't expect it.
Yeah. Well, we kind of got where you guys both are leaning, but let's go ahead and get your predictions for this game. Brian, let's start with you.
Gosh, 38-20 Los Angeles, something like that. Maybe I'm not giving the Lions enough credit offensively. Maybe 38-28 then, something like that. But I don't see how the Lions stop them. That's my biggest concern. I don't see how they stop them.
I said the similar 34-24, 38-27, something like. I am not a betting man. I'm not saying that to be PC. Yeah. I am not a betting man. But if I were a betting man, I think I would give the points today.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in the same boat with you guys, man. I just don't see them being able to stop Stafford in that passing game with the way they're beat up their secondary is. I think this is going to be a real shootout. I'm saying 41-37 Rams in an absolute like lights out shootout. I think it's going to be a fun one, but I think the Rams are going to get it in the end and just be too much for them. But I think the Lions offenses, man, they've looked great the last couple of weeks, and I think they're going to be able to hold their own. But the Rams are just going to be a little bit too much. And before we let you go, Sean, I want to get both your guys' thoughts. We all feel that the Rams are going to pull this one out, but where do you see the Lions kind of finishing up this season, and do they make the playoffs? Brian, I'll start with you.
Yeah, we talked about it before. I still kind of think they do. I think they win out. I'm looking forward to like after today, a hard reset, and then okay, like let's buckle up, man. 4 weeks to get in, and that Week 18 game is going to be a lot of fun against Chicago.
I feel the exact same way. I think that turns into an elimination game. The Bears' schedule moving forward after the Browns today is not easy. You got Frisco, you got Green Bay, you got Detroit. I think that's an elimination game. I think we eliminate Ben Johnson and the Bears that last week of the year. And, you know, you get into the playoffs and, you know, you pull out every cliche. It's a whole new season. Coach, you mentioned Buffalo. Man, if I had to pick a team right now in the AFC, I'd still pick Buffalo. I mean, even with New England's doing, I'm not going against that madman quarterback. He's so fun to watch, and you know, we'll see what happens. But I think they find a way to creep in as a wild card.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all you guys. I think they lose today, but I think they win out the rest of the way and get in the playoffs. And man, that last Week 18 game, man, it feels like we're headed towards another Sunday Night Football last game of the year. This time it's a win and get in scenario, and you're going to have all the narratives with Ben Johnson and Chicago hasn't really made it in a while. If that sets up, man, that's going to be quite the story and quite the build up and a lot of fun.
No doubt about it. Looking forward to it. And, you know, I mean, for me, I think it depends what era you grew up in. Like my son hates the Packers, you know, and they were his tormentor. For me, I hated the Bears, and I openly admit I watched Ditka's Bears and they were everything I wanted to be. So that's where my hate comes from, you know, I mean, and so, you know, for a guy like me and maybe guys in our generation, if you had to pick the team you hate the most, it was like once Ben went to the Bears, it's like, all right, you're the enemy. That's it. And I told Joik Bell, you know, I got a chance to call Joik's games in college. And when he signed with the Bears, I texted him. I said, okay, you're dead to me until you're not a Bear any longer. And he's like, don't do me like that. And I was like, no, that's the way it is, man. Like you're dead to me. But you know, that's the fun of it. And, you know, we'll see. That'd be a pretty cool thing though, the last week of the year.
That's hilarious. Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining us, man. This has been a lot of fun. Where can people find you?
No, you know what? Having some fun doing some things on my own out of the basement. It's pretty cool, and doing some stuff with Woodward Sports, and I love what I do for state champs. I've had more
Mhm.
fun doing that stuff than you can shake a stick at. It really is a blast, and what a great crew there. So very very fortunate. I don't know how I've been able to do this for over 30 years
Mhm.
now, but what a blessing it's been.